I'm installing some fairy hair.
Good morning. It is November 6th, 2024, and I'm not in very high spirits today, but I put on my makeup and I got dressed and I'm really trying my best. And I had plans to make this video regardless of what happened today, and I am adhering to that because hope is pressing on even when feeling defeat. And I just made up that definition. Yesterday was election day, but it was also one of my dear friend's birthdays, and we ended up doing a birthday shoot for her, and I decided that that was a really good opportunity to kind of talk about what it is that I do / am striving to do for real. One of my friends has very rightly called me a Jill of all trades. I've always said I do a lot of things and I struggle to feel competent at all of them. My inner critic says that I am okay at a lot of things, but I'm not very good at any one of them. But objectively, I have made a career out of doing all of the many things that I do. And a light bulb kind of went off one day when I realized, like, oh, some of the hats that I'm wearing amount to kind of a creative director title. Whenever people ask me, like, what is your long-term goal? What is your, like, ultimate, like, dream job, dream whatever? And I'm like, I don't really know. I am a dancer first and foremost. I am also an actor. I am also a photographer. I've also always been a little bit of a writer, a big appreciator of music. I mean, I don't play any instruments. I'm not the greatest singer, but like I know enough about music. I have a very musically inclined family and extended family, so I'm very much like around it. So over the past year or so, I've kind of like started to learn a little bit about the music industry and artist management and things like that. I've done some work in social media, marketing, that kind of vibe. But like the underlying thing that I really, really love is storytelling. And one way that I learned to like do that over the years is in making like little concept videos or photo shoots and just kind of like producing an idea. This is one of the first photo shoots that I did like this was with my little sister, and I would just like to say we've come a long way. So I'm going to show you behind the scenes of this photo shoot that I did with my friend Aimee. She also vlogged some of it too, so you can watch it on her channel. And then I'll kind of talk about what's happening from a zoomed out perspective and where an afternoon like this kind of fits into this like bigger scope of my life, my career. And I don't know if this is like heady and selfish to be talking about, but I am interested in people who do what I want to be doing, so I figured I would just share. I took some notes. What is a creative director? A creative director is a person who makes high-level creative decisions, oversees the creation of creative assets such as advertisements, products, events, or logos, and directs and translates the creative people who produce the end results. I've found this definition on Google, but I would say that's like exactly right. So typically what I do when I like self-produce a shoot or a video is make the creative decisions and then also execute the creative assets myself. So the shoot with Aimee is collaborative. She sent me some inspiration pictures, said, can we do this? And I was like, yes, we can. And there have been a few collaboration type things that I've done as well. For example, this promo shoot for my friend Sophia, or honestly some of the work that I do for brands like Newly. I recently did some paid promotion for Rent the Runway where like they gave me an outline of the ideas and then obviously the products and clothing to wear, but then the ultimate creative execution and then like creative discernment was up to me. So I would say like, yeah, there's like the two worlds in which I do this, where someone comes to me and says, here's kind of what I want to do, can you help me execute it? Or when I just have an idea and I say, I pull together what is needed to execute it. As far as the shoot yesterday goes, my main role was photographer. But to zoom out on what was in actuality a very casual exchange with one of my best friends, in which she said, you want to take some pictures? And I said yes. If I was going to look at it from like a professional stance, here's kind of what happened. Someone comes to me with a request or an idea, I like to kind of discuss with them the core elements underlying that like desire to make this thing. Like if someone sends me an inspiration picture, I try to figure out what is it that they like about this picture and about what the picture says, and then how can we use that as the root of what we're making as opposed to like direct visual inspiration. So I like to think about the theme, product, objective for the shoot so we can nail down even just like specific words that target a theme, tone, or emotion. And then I like to offer visual aids on my end too. You know, I keep a Pinterest board of inspiration. Someone actually recently asked me if I had any ideas for a birthday thing as well. And as I was looking through my stuff, I thought about sending them my inspiration board, but Honestly, I have curated some of these to the extent that I'm like, I know it's public images on the internet, but they kind of feel like my intellectual property in a little bit. The way that I've curated the things, it's like I want to be picky about what I share and what I pull from and when. But all that being said, a lot of times I will make a mood board for clients if I'm doing like a paid photo shoot or just when I'm collaborating with a friend. And sometimes it is like, oh, this specific pose or this specific framing or whatever, but a lot of times it's just sort of like things that could exist in the world, color palettes. I save a lot of memes that act as inspiration as well, or like screen grabs from movies and TV, etc. And then when I'm working with a musician, it's kind of different because a lot of times like the song is the direct inspiration or quote product that we're kind of trying to capture. But if not, I also do kind of like to have whoever I'm collaborating with curate a playlist or figure out like a song that kind of fits, again, I like to say within the world. I'm a big Swiftie, and something that I admire about Taylor Swift is the way that everything that she creates and puts out, whether it's like the songs themselves or just sort of the promotion or the things she's wearing for like events, they all exist within the same world, and I think that makes the experience of consuming her art that much richer. And then a lot of the shoots that I have like come up with myself have directly been inspired by a song. My first like micro short film that I made was inspired by Closure by Taylor Swift. This Champagne Problems inspired photo shoot. I had an idea for like a rom-com like opening credits sequence from this song called Try So Hard. This one was inspired by Put On a Happy Face. This one was inspired by a song called He's Fine. I love this photo shoot. This one was like a combination of things. I had a lot of photos like this saved, and then I really love the song Are You Satisfied by Marina and the Diamonds, where she says like, are you satisfied with an average life? And then my roommate had rented this dress from Nuuly that was super cute, so we kind of combined all of those elements to do this thing. Concept video to Sweet Tooth by Annika Bennett is actually probably one of my favorite things that I've ever made. And then another Annika Bennett song inspired shoot to her song Sober Up, which kind of is like in a similar world as the shoot that we did with Aimee. And so then because I am a photographer, and I wouldn't say like cinematographer, videographer, I just kind of like use the video feature on my devices to capture my ideas. But when it comes to the actual shoot, as a photographer, my creative direction carries into the angles, the physical direction in which we shoot, the lighting, whether it's natural, studio, am I using an external flash like I did in this shoot, as well as the editing. All of that plays into the original idea of creative director, which is the person who makes the high-level creative decisions. So this is kind of how it all turned out. About to leave to go to Aimee's, gotta pick up some balloons on the way. Get all my stuff into my car and go. Wearing my favorite gray wool top, Nike track pant capris, loafers. And then I have a jacket downstairs. The jacket that I'm renting from Nuuly this month from Free People that I'll throw on over. What you got there?
Just a little Sammy.
Yum. Perfect.
Imagine like my family just seeing this sitting here. They're like, I'm sorry. Some fairy hair. Perfect. We're in the process of renovation.
This is the goal. I'm gonna try my best. It's time.
I don't know how to go about this.
You just have to get in it.
Or should I just like
get a chunk and then eat that chunk? I feel like that's what she's doing in the picture.
Oh.
This is one of those things that like reminds you you're alive type.
So just keep that in mind.
She did it. She did it. She did it. Yeah. Shimmy form. Shimmy form. The way that I edit has really evolved over the years, from using Phil Chester presets to actually learning how to create my own presets and just a little bit more about editing in general. I typically only process things through Lightroom unless I'm shooting in a studio in which I need to like clean up the backdrop a little bit, and then I'll go into Photoshop. Photoshop is definitely an area where I am weaker and I don't really have the patience to learn, but I have a friend who has taught me a lot about Photoshop, and I commend photographers who work more exclusively within that program. But typically the way I go about it now is I've created my own preset and I apply it and then make adjustments and then kind of copy and paste those adjustments and then just make other individual adjustments from photo to photo. Depending on the shoot though, sometimes I will not use my preset and I will literally just start from scratch and then go about it however makes the most sense for, again, the tone. I think for any creative, it's hard sometimes if you struggle with self-confidence to see what you're doing as valuable when what you're doing involves a lot of detail and nuance and things that are not quite so in your face, like, oh, I'm doing this. It's like, a lot of what I think I bring to the table is intuition. A lot of what people come to me with questions about or asking for my help when it comes to like creative visual style things. That's another thing I forgot about, is that I supplied the dress for this photo shoot. And what's funny about this dress is that I bought it because I was like, I feel that I would use this for something. And I have personally never worn it. However, two of my friends have, one for a music festival and then also for this shoot. And I didn't realize that I was doing this until I started watching Chloe Philopoulos' videos on YouTube, and she's a stylist in New York, that I've been building what she calls like a personal archive of clothing that I use for photo shoots or video shoots or whatever, or even like live performances, that sort of thing. And all of those things are things that have like built up over time, like the way that I choose to edit, the ideas that I have, the playlists that I've curated, the Pinterest boards I've made. All of those are things that have taken a lot of time. It's not work that you sit down and do all at once. It's never-ending work, and I also don't think it's perceived as work, but it does benefit what I do and what I bring to the table creatively. I'm not entirely sure what it is I'm going to do with this YouTube channel. I like vlogging, but it is a little bit hard to do. The vloggers that I really love to watch do such a good job of like letting you watch them, and sometimes I realize that a lot of my vlogging is just sort of telling what has happened, and that's not quite as interesting as it is to kind of like watch things actually happen. But I do travel alone a lot, and I kind of like capturing that even just for my sake to look back on. If you wouldn't mind subscribing or liking this video, that would be really cool too. And yeah, talking about all of this has made me feel a lot better about the situation that we're in today, and I'm kind of excited to make things. Whoever you are, whatever you are doing or facing today, be hopeful. I'm gonna try my best to be hopeful too.